my December wrap up, and I read 12 books in the month of December, which is just craziness. First, I continued on my reread of the Hathaway series by Lisa Kleypas, and I read Tempt Me at Twilight, which is the third book in the series, as follows: Poppy. I gave this 5 stars, and I will tell you that I've always liked this book, but it was never a favorite. Now, I have not finished the series yet. I should be finishing it in January, but right now I feel like this may be my favorite now. I don't know, it's craziness. If you have read, is it called Marrying Winterborn, I think, in the Ravenel series, it's actually a very similar story. I think I might have mentioned that when I read that one. Like, it's very similar in concept, so you would probably like it, I guess. I don't know. But I really, really like Poppy as a character, and I loved this book so much. And this book has a crap ton of sequel bait in it. I mean, seriously, that I just had to pick up Married by Morning right away after that. And this has always been one of my favorites. It's still a great book, still a 5-star read, but it just didn't quite hook me as much as it usually does. So, but I mean, still 5 stars. Like, the first 4 books in the series are all 5-star reads for me. And then I actually listened to this book, which was on my fall TBR, which was Creating Magic. I do own a physical copy of it that my dad had given me, but I was able to find it on Overdrive so I could listen to it. I just prefer listening to nonfiction version. And I gave this 5 stars. It was phenomenal. I kind of wish I had read it in my previous job, although I feel I already use a lot of the things that Lee Cockrell talks about as a leader, but I was in a management position in my past job, although everybody can be a leader and use these tips. So this is just strategies that he learned from all of his years of working, but especially at the Walt Disney Company. I highly recommend it. I finally finished Theft of Swords, the bind up. So I had read the first book like a year or 2 ago, and now I've read the second one, and it's called like Vampartha, I think. I don't know. I gave it 4 stars, which I believe is what I gave the first book. The first one is called The Crown Conspiracy, and I'm not a huge fantasy fan, but this is totally the kind of fantasy that's up my alley. It's really not that big. It's just because it's a bind up and the font and spacing is kind of big, so it's not hard to get through it all. Michael J. Sullivan's writing is super approachable. Like, I think sometimes fantasy can get a little weighty for me, which is why I avoid it, but this is great. It has a ton of humor in it. I really like the world. I love the characters, and I'm just so excited. I'm gonna buy the next, I'm just gonna keep buying them in bind ups, and there's 2 more bind ups, 4 more books, and I think when I do my next purchase of books, which should probably be in the next couple months, I plan on buying probably both bind ups just so I can like go through them, because I'm so excited. I really, really enjoyed this. Then I got the Duchess Deal by Tessa Dare from Overdrive, and oh my gosh, fantastic book. I gave it 5 stars. Loving Tessa Dare. I'm all caught up now on Tessa Dare. I'm thinking about going back and rereading her earlier books because it's been a long time since I read them, and because I just feel like I need more in my life, and I'm pretty sure she has a book coming out this year. Yes, it's like the next book in the series, but that's just not enough. I need more. And then I read Writing Magic, Creating Stories That Fly by Gail Carson Levine, or I guess I listened to this on audiobook through Overdrive. When I was actually looking for Creating Magic, this had like popped up because they have similar titles. And I was like, oh, I really like Gail Carson Levine. Let me give this a read. I gave it 5 stars. It's really good. I think it's interesting whether you want to write or not. I think it's definitely geared towards kids, maybe, because she does like creative writing classes with kids. But it's interesting to learn some stuff about some of her books. And like, she talks about Ella Enchanted, and I finally learned how to say the 2 princesses of whatever, but I don't remember what she said. I think she said Bamar. which is not how I've ever said it. But I love that book. Sleeper hit. But I think even as a reader, if you're just a reader with no ambition to write, I think you can get a lot out of it. Like, it helps me like kind of contextualize what I think about books. So, and then I read When It's Real by Erin Watt on Overdrive. And oh my gosh, I almost DNF'd this book like 5 times. I gave it 2 stars. I kept reading it. I don't even know why. I think a huge part of it is just I really like Al Kennedy. And I was just like, I can't DNF an Al Kennedy book. Oh my gosh, it was like pulling teeth for me. It was so hard for me to read. It felt very much like, almost like a robot wrote it or something. Like, but a robot would probably do better. Like, it just took a bunch of concepts that work in books but didn't make it work, like didn't have that magic factor that you need. I'm sure a lot of people like it. I'm also not a huge fan of Rockstar books, but that doesn't mean anything. Like, Kristen Callahan, she wrote a Rockstar book and I really liked it. So it's not like it's impossible to do. So this was just a really disappointing read, and I've been kind of disappointed with Erin Watt in general, like which again, I don't understand because I like Al Kennedy. I don't know. So I'm thinking about not reading these books anymore. If you think I should give Erin Watt another try, feel free to let me know and try and convince me. Then I'm embarked on my plan of finishing the Winter's Curse series, and since it had been a while, I decided to reread The Winter's Curse, which I did, and I gave it 4 stars. Again, I think it's a good, solid book. I just have a few issues with it, mostly surrounding the believability of the romance. And I do plan on doing a series review in like January, it might be February. I feel like I have a lot of videos to do of this series because, spoiler alert, I finished it. But before I continued on with that series, I read To Win Her Heart by Karen Whitmire, I think. I gave this book 3 stars. It's a Christian romance, which I had never read before, but I've always wanted to, and I do want to continue reading them. I just kind of want to get to Christian, inspirational, I don't care, it can be whatever. I really want to read some Amish romance, but I feel like I maybe know a little too much about the Amish, so like an inaccurate representation of them is gonna piss me off. I don't know. So if you have any recommendations, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. So this had popped up on my Goodreads and it looked interesting, so because one of my friends was reading it, so I was like, you know what, let me see if they have it on Overdrive, and they did. So I read it, and like I said, I gave it 3 stars. I thought this was gonna read like kind of like a Hallmark movie, and it did, which if you are in the mood for that, or if you like that, that is great. I liked the characters. I thought they were really well done. It's obviously religious. If that bothers you, then don't read it. I'm not particularly religious, but I don't mind if the characters are. I really liked that the characters got to know each other and talked, which sometimes doesn't happen in books. But I kind of would have liked the world to be a little more well developed. But overall, it was a good book, and I think I will check out this author some more and read more of her books. So then it was time to, you know, keep going with the winners, whatever. So I read The Winter's Crime, which if you've seen my 2017 year in review video, you know was one of my favorite books of the year. I gave it 5 stars, and this is why this book is a favorite and why I got 5 stars. I had an issue with the romance in this book. I just don't think it's believable that these 2 people would fall in love and like overlook everything in between them. And trust me, I'm a believer in love. I am. And in this book, I still don't believe it. And I don't care. The intellectual part of my brain is like, they still can't like fall in love. Like, that's not possible. But the rest of me is like, heck yeah, woo, wah. Like, I was all about it. This book was so well written. I could not put it down. there's like this feeling that certain books give me and I can't really put it into words, and this book gave me that. And then I did read The Winner's Kiss, which is the third and final book in this trilogy, and I gave it 4 stars. It was a slight step down. I think the writing style just changed in this book, which potentially on a reread maybe I'll appreciate more, I don't know, but here it just felt like too different for me. I don't know, but still a very good conclusion to the series, still a very good book. I would totally read other books by Marie Rutkowski. And then the last book I read in December/2017 is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. I gave this book 4 stars. Initially I gave it 5, but I gave it 5 for a very specific reason, and after sitting on it for a while I decided I had to put it down to 4 stars. But my reasoning for giving it 5 was not valid enough to give it 5 stars. So I'm not going to say much about this book. I do plan on doing a actual video review. I've done that for the majority of Colleen Hoover's books. And I do plan on doing that. It'll be non-spoilery and then have a spoilery section because I feel like there are things I need to talk about in here to more explain my rating and everything. It was a good book. I will say trigger warning for domestic abuse and rape. So if you are triggered by either of those, I would not pick this up. And I don't consider those spoilers because trigger warnings are more important than spoilers. So I don't know when that review will be up, but I will get it up as soon as I can. So that is my December 2017 wrap up. I'm so happy with the books that I read and what I was able to accomplish this year. I read a ton of books off of my TBR. My TBR is so close to being under 50 books. And then of course you get a bunch of books for Christmas and your birthday, and it just like goes. So again, thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments or questions or anything like that, feel free to leave that down below, and I will see you later. Bye. Is that her name? Are you gonna say her name? No, I didn't mean to do that. Do you ever close apps on your phone and you like totally didn't mean to close them? Because that happens to me. This is probably gonna date this video like super bad, but so it was my YouTube app that I closed because I'm streaming on my computer or my TV through my Roku. So I like to be able to just add videos as I need to because this is an important tangent, and so I just like went to reopen it, and Simply Nailogical posted a Peely Bag video. Like this video or comment below if you watch Simply Nailogical. I'm obsessed with her.